For today's lecture, we're going to move into what are called inequalities. If you notice the signs of inequalities, they look like arrows. Now, this arrow pointing towards the right, we usually call that greater than. When we read this, we call this greater than. This arrow that's pointing to the left, we usually call that one less than. This is how we read these numbers. Now here, the instruction says complete with a greater than, less than, or equal sign. Equal sign means both sides of the equal sign are equal, right? The same value. That's why we call it equal sign. The hard time will be the inequality signs. The arrow pointing to the right is called greater than. The arrow pointing to the left, we call this less than. Now, the interesting part, the way we can also see this, imagine this is a mouth, right? The side, imagine it's a mouth. Let me draw my teeth there, the mouth. It wants to eat the bigger side. Usually when we read, we go from left to right. So something like, I will read this as 7 is greater than 5. Notice how it's a mouth. The mouth wants to eat the bigger part. So when we use the greater than sign, it means that numbered on the left is greater. So that's why the way we read that is 7 greater than 5. Now something like 1, let's say I was comparing 1 and 3. The mouth, let me see this as a mouth, wants to eat the bigger part, so wants to eat the 3. The way we read that is 1 less than 3. So again, imagine this as a mouth, and the mouth wants to eat the bigger part. Now, what do I mean with bigger part? Remember, we talk about a number line. We mentioned in the previous lectures, we talk about a number line. If I put my numbers on the number line, I'm comparing two numbers. The number from the two numbers that I see, the one that's going to appear closest to the left, that's my smaller number. And that number is going to be closer to the right. That's my bigger number. So here, question number 9, I'm comparing a negative 23 with a positive 15. I said before in previous lectures, I said it yesterday, on lecture yesterday, that negatives are to the left of the positives. Remember a number line, I said there's a 0 in the center, positives are to the right of the 0, and the negatives are to the left of the 0, right? Negatives are always smaller than positives. So here, comparing negative 23 with a positive 15. 15 is the bigger number. So the way I'm going to complete this question is with the less than sign. Again, look at it as a mouth. It wants to eat the bigger part, right? Negative 23 is less than 15. Looking at question number 10. I'm comparing positive 12 with a negative 21. Positives are always bigger than negatives. So I'm going to have this mouth wanting to eat the positive 12. The way we read this is 12 is greater than negative 21. Now here on number 11, I'm going to compare two negatives, right? Negative 5 and negative 23. Usually when they were positive, right? Positives, we don't struggle. If I'm comparing 5 and 23, positive 5, positive 23, we will say, well, 23 is bigger. In negatives is the opposite way. Negative 5 is bigger than negative 23. If I was to write them on my number line, right, let me imagine 0. Negative 5, let's say it's about here, and negative 23 is about here. Notice how negative 23 is to the left of negative 5. That's why negative 23 is smaller than negative 5. Or negative 5 is bigger than negative 23. Question number 12, I'm comparing two positive numbers, 43 and 15. We can tell that 43 is bigger, right? If I was to draw them on my number line, here's 0, 15 is somewhere over here, and 43 is here, right? 15 is to the left of 43. So that means 43 is bigger. So I'm going to write this number, this inequality sign as a mouth wanting to eat the 43. When the small number is written first, right? The smaller number is written first, we call this inequality sign less than. When the big number is written first, right? Looking at question number 10, 11, or 12, when the small number is written first, we call that greater than. So for your homework, I'm gonna give you guys two numbers and you guys have to complete it with the less than sign, greater than sign, or equal, because the numbers could be equal. What if I had you compared 5 with 5, right? The same number. So I will write equal sign in there.